The Manic Street Preachers emerged from the coalfields of Blackwood, Wales in the late 1980s, fueled by raw energy and a desire to make their mark on the music world. Formed by childhood friends James Dean Bradfield, Sean Moore, and Nicky Wire, the band forged their unique sound, blending punk rock with thought-provoking lyrics. As they honed their craft, the band quickly garnered attention on the Welsh music scene, captivating audiences with their impassioned performances. Their breakout moment came with the release of their first charting single, Motown Junk, in 1991. By this point, Richie Edwards had been hired as co-lyricist and guitarist.
We didn't have any other friends, we just know each other. Just stayed down in James' bedroom every day for years and years and years, till we got some guitars.
From there, the band's trajectory soared as they embarked on extensive tours across the UK and Europe. Their fame soon transcended borders, with the Manic Street Preachers gaining recognition all over the world. Their second album, Gold Against the Soul, further solidified their status as rising stars, with tracks like La Tristesse Durera, Scream to a Sigh, and Roses in the Hospital earning critical acclaim. The band was soon earning prestigious awards and nominations for their groundbreaking work. From winning Brit Awards to headlining iconic festivals like Glastonbury, their influence rippled throughout the music industry. Their most famous songs, including A Design for Life, Motorcycle Emptiness, and If You Tolerate This, Your Children Will Be Next, became anthems for a generation, resonating with audiences far and wide. In addition to their musical accomplishments, the Manic Street Preachers made waves with their appearances on popular TV shows such as Top of the Pops and later with Jules Holland. In the early 90s, the band had faced criticism from music critics of the likes of Steve Lamacq, who worked for the magazine NME. He labeled them as plastic punks. His skepticism stemmed from the band's outspoken commentary on other musicians and their perceived lack of authenticity within the industry. He didn't think that the band was for real. During a live performance, fans in the audience taunted the band with cries of "plastic punks." After the show, Richie Edwards approached Steve Lamacq in an attempt to convince him of the band's authenticity. When verbal persuasion failed, Richie resorted to a dramatic gesture, carving "for real" into his arm with a razor blade. It would require 18 stitches.
He did very well. The National Health Service does a pretty good job in Britain these days. Perfect.
Were you freaked out?
I thought it was great. It was the highlight of my year last year. Because we just thought it was brilliant. We thought it was an act of art. I kind of still do, really.
Photographs were taken and subsequently published by NME, sparking even more controversy. Was Richie struggling with some mental health issues? Perhaps. But it was the early 90s, and mental health wasn't taken as seriously as it is today. Plus, Richie was a guy in his 20s who's in a rock band, so such gestures might have been brushed off as a byproduct of the rock or punk lifestyle. It wasn't until the band were becoming so popular, doing interviews and lots of public appearances, that Richie started showing even more signs of depression and mental health struggles.
Are you of the opinion that people wear makeup to shield themselves from the world?
Maybe from themselves, maybe from their own reflection in the mirror, because they don't like looking at themselves. But that's, even when you wear it, you still look pretty bad. I think most people are just really disappointed with their lives. They just didn't reach any kind of fulcrum, no fulfillment, nothing, and they just feel a little bit just let down for whatever reasons. That is what the despair means. I'm not saying that we are sitting in our bedrooms every day. It's like crying into crying into our glasses of water.
With the 1994 album The Holy Bible, people were able to feel the despair in the lyrics, the shift in tone, and the depth in the sadness. Richie was struggling with alcohol, he was going in and out of hospitals, and it was there that he came up with the cover for the album. It depicts 3 pictures of an obese woman in her underwear. Their manager at the time, Philip Hall, had passed away, and that also weighed heavily on Richie. The interviews he gave were always dark. He never had a lot of positive things to say, and people were starting to witness him coming apart at the seams. On February 1st, 1995, the music world was thrown into turmoil when Richie Edwards, the 27-year-old enigmatic guitarist and lyricist of one of the biggest bands in the world, seemed to vanish without a trace. His last confirmed sighting was at 7 a.m. on February 1st when he left the Embassy Hotel in London. Despite recent hospitalization for anorexia and alcohol abuse, he was supposed to fly to America later that day for a tour. But instead, it seems he drove to his flat in Cardiff where he left his passport, credit card, and medication before heading for the service station nearest the bridge. That bridge is the Severn Bridge, a notorious spot close to which Edwards' car was found 17 days after he first went missing. His mom and dad, Sherry and Graham, both hairdressers in Blackwood, the ex-mining town in Wales where the band all grew up, put out an advert in the press appealing for information. It read, "Richard, please make contact. Love, Mom, Dad, and Rachel." The band's manager hired a private investigator, but no word came. Authorities launched an extensive search for Richie that spanned weeks and covered vast stretches of land and waterways. News headlines blared with updates of the unfolding mystery, with titles like "Manic Street Preachers Guitarist Missing, Vanishes Near Severn Bridge." The story dominated papers and tabloids, leading everyone to speculate about Richie's fate. In the absence of concrete leads, fans of the Manic Street Preachers banded together in a grassroots effort to aid in the search. From organizing search parties to distributing flyers and posters, they mobilized to spread awareness and support the ongoing investigation. But as days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the search for Richie continued, and the mystery of his disappearance only deepened. As time went on, a number of theories emerged. One of the most widely debated ones suggested that Richie took his own life by jumping from the Severn Bridge, the location where his car was discovered abandoned. The proximity of the bridge to where his car was found, coupled with his documented struggles with depression, led to a theory hard to dispute. Another theory proposes that Richie staged his disappearance in an attempt to escape the pressures of fame and start a new life under an assumed identity. Supposed sightings of him around the world, from India to the Canary Islands, have fueled speculation that he may be living in seclusion somewhere far from the public eye. Conspiracy theories abound, with some suggesting foul play or involvement by external parties. They range from allegations of involvement by the government or record industry to claims of a botched kidnapping or assassination plot. In the wake of the tragedy, the Manic Street Preachers were left grappling with profound loss. Determined to honor their bandmates' memory, the remaining members, James Dean Bradfield, Sean Moore, and Nicky Wire, faced the daunting task of navigating an uncertain future. Opting to press forward, the band chose resilience over retreat. They continued creating music, albeit now as a trio. Despite their determination, Richie's absence left a palpable void. The band even briefly considered recruiting a new guitarist. However, they ultimately decided to remain a trio, believing that the essence of the band was irrevocably tied to the original lineup. They persisted, releasing albums showcasing their resilience and creativity, achieving commercial success with albums like Everything Must Go and This Is My Truth, Tell Me Yours. However, Richie's absence remained a constant reminder of the fragility of life and cast an ever-present dark cloud over their heads. In 2008, the band announced an indefinite hiatus, signaling the end of an era. It perhaps shouldn't have been a surprise when the news finally came. After all, it had been almost 14 years since Richie disappeared. But when word leaked out in 2008 that the parents of Richie Edwards had been granted a court order for their son to be legally presumed dead, it hit many of their fans harder than they ever could have imagined. Edwards would have been turning 41 on December 22nd at the time he was declared dead. The family could now release assets frozen in bank accounts since his disappearance. A grant of probate was made on October 13 to release his personal estate of £455,990, which was reduced after liabilities to a value of £377,548. The document issued named his parents as his executors and stated that he had died on or since February 1st, 1995. Edwards left no will and had no spouse or children, so his entire estate is inherited by his parents. The decision had the blessing of the surviving 3 members of the band. They have been placing a quarter of the royalties earned in an account for him, should he resurface. But the case was only legally closed in 2019. A book titled Withdrawn Traces: Searching for the Truth About Richie Manic, co-authored by Sarah Hoyes Roberts and Leon Noakes, explores the theory that Edwards orchestrated his disappearance and is currently living discreetly in Israel. Supported by Edwards' sister Rachel, the book brings intriguing parallels and clues. Drawing from Edwards' personal archive and interviews with friends and family, the book reveals a history within his family of disappearing acts. For instance, his great-aunt Bessie lived as a hermit for 80 years, and his uncle Shane went off the grid after traveling to the US in the early 60s. Edwards himself displayed a fascination with recluses like J.D. Salinger. The author explained, with all the books and all the different things he'd left and all the things he'd spoken about before going missing, there were some symbolic things in there that would lead you to think, oh yeah, he did plan his disappearance. The book offers a provocative new perspective on Edwards' vanishing, challenging the official narrative and inviting readers to reconsider the fate of the enigmatic musician. But whether Richie took his own life or whether any of those theories are true, his legacy is what can never die. His thoughtful lyrics, his larger-than-life attitude, and his enduring fan base are what keep him and his music alive and well forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video or didn't, let us know. We'll catch you in the next one.